Hey, my name is Elise Sullivan, and today we will be going on a virtual tour of Eleusis, the sacred center of mysteries. Welcome to Eleusis, an ancient site just outside of Athens that once held some of the most sacred and secretive rituals in all of ancient Greece. Today, I will be taking you on a virtual tour of this mysterious sanctuary, focusing on the 5 key stops that shaped its meaning and legacy. We'll look at Eleusis through the eyes of an artist, humanist, and social scientist to understand how space, myth, and society all came together here. Let's begin with the story at the heart of Eleusis, the myth of Demeter and Persephone. According to the Homeric hymn to Demeter, when Hades abducted Persephone into the underworld, Demeter, the goddess of agriculture, wandered the earth in grief. She eventually arrived in Eleusis, disguised as an old woman. There, she demanded a temple be built for her, and within it, she created the rites that became the Eleusinian Mysteries. From a humanist perspective, this myth explores themes of grief, motherhood, and the cycle of life and death. It gave people a spiritual framework for understanding change, seasons, and even the afterlife. From an artist's point of view, this myth is deeply visual. Imagine the dramatic contrast between light, darkness, growth, and decay. Ideas that would later influence how the rituals and spaces at Eleusis were designed. Now we arrive at the Telesterion, the largest and most sacred building in Eleusis. This enormous hall was at the heart of the Eleusinian Mysteries, where thousands of initiates gathered for the final, secret stages of the ritual. From the outside, it may have looked like a massive stone hall, but inside, it held immense spiritual power. The hall had rows of columns and a central platform, and it was designed to create an intimate, yet awe-inspiring atmosphere. The rituals performed here were kept strictly confidential, and even today, no one knows exactly what happened inside. However, ancient sources suggest it involved dramatic reenactments of Demeter's death, sacred objects, and a moment of a powerful revelation. Kevin Clinton, a leading scholar on Eleusis, has written that the Telesterion's layout and design played a key role in creating emotional, transformative experience. This wasn't just a religious space, it was a space where people confronted depth, death, rebirth, and the hope of something beyond this life. Through the eyes of an artist, the Telesterion was a masterpiece in atmosphere. It had no interior columns and only small windows, creating a dark, intimate space where initiates would gather in silence. Every detail of the space was designed to heighten emotion and focus the mind. From a social scientist perspective, this building was also a political and communal space. Only Greek-speaking initiates were allowed in. No outsiders. This experience was life-changing, but access was carefully controlled. Participation reflected one's social position and identity. We are now standing at one of the most mysterious and symbolic places in Eleusis, the Plutonian. This small cave-like area was believed to be a mythical entrance to the underworld, where Hades emerged to abduct Persephone, and where she was returned each year, bringing life back to the earth. To the ancient Greeks, this spot wasn't just a rock formation, it was sacred, a real and tangible point of contact between life and death. According to George Melonis, the location's association with Hades gave it a sense of holy dread. It was feared, but also deeply revered. The rituals here may have included offerings or silent reflection, preparing initiates for what was to come later in the Telesterion. Even though the site itself is modest, its symbolic weight was enormous. It grounded the myth of Persephone in the physical world, reminding initiates that death wasn't just an abstract idea. It was a part of a cycle of renewal and transformation. Standing here, visitors would have felt the weight of that myth, knowing that they were near the place where the boundaries between the worlds had once opened. The humanist view sees this as a way of dealing with fear and uncertainty. The cave became a sacred place of not just death, but of return and reunion. The darkness is not the end, but a part of the cycle. As an artist, I see the cave as a part of a larger stage. In performance terms, it would have been a quiet, shadowy place that set the tone for introspection and rebirth. It shows how architecture and natural features work together to build such a spiritual experience and space. Next, we follow the Sacred Way, a 14-mile road that connected the city of Athens to the sanctuary at Eleusis. Each year, thousands of initiates walked this path during the Festival of Mysteries. It wasn't just a road, it was a part of a ritual itself. Participants stopped at key points to perform rites and carry sacred items, reenacting Demeter's long journey in search of Persephone. Along the way, they sang hymns, danced, and underwent purification rituals at places like the Kephisos River. The road was lined with shrines, markers, and rest stops, turning the journey into a spiritual and communal experience. According to George Milonis, the sacred way symbolized the process of transformation from the ordinary world into a sacred one. Walking it connected initiates to something larger than themselves and reminded them that they were a part of a long-standing tradition stretching back generations. Even the landscape played a role. Hills, rivers, open skies shaped how the journey was felt, remembered, and passed on. From a social scientist perspective, this was a civic event that reinforced Athenian identity and religious unity. The state funded the festival, powerful leaders participated, and even Roman emperors like Hadrian later joined in. Eleusis became a way for Athens to show spiritual power and political organization. This stop reminds us how religion, politics, and infrastructure all intersected in the ancient world and how shared rituals built strong communities. Finally, we arrive at the later history of Eleusis and its modern legacy. During the Roman era, the sanctuary was expanded and improved. Emperors like Hadrian and Marcus Aurelius visited the site to support its growth. They added new entrances, built supporting structures, and ensured that more people from across the empire could take part in the mysteries. This shows how Eleusis remained spiritually important long after the classical age of Greece. The sanctuary kept attracting people who hoped to connect with the divine, and it adapted to new cultures without losing its core identity. Over time, however, with the rise of Christianity and the decline of ancient pagan worship, led to the end of the mysteries. Today, ruins are quiet and open to visitors, but even in its stillness, Eleusis continues to inspire. Scholars like Clinton argue that the site's powerful blend of myth, ritual, and space still speaks to us, not through preserved buildings, but through the idea that transformation, mystery, and hope are timeless. From a humanist perspective, the story of Eleusis became one of memory and how people long for spiritual meaning, even as cultures change. From the social science angle, the site's survival and rediscovery shows how ancient traditions were preserved, adapted, or erased by political and religious shifts. Today, Eleusis is once again gaining recognition and was even named the European Capital of Culture in 2023. The mysteries may remain a secret, but the legacy continues. As we end our tour, I hope you've gotten a glimpse into why Eleusis mattered, not just to ancient Greeks, but to anyone who has searched for the meaning and hope. Whether through sacred space, myths, or rituals, Eleusis reminds us that the past still speaks in mystery and whispers of the past, but always with something to say. Thank you.